Okay, we're moving on to our next technique in cutting glass. We are now going to try to cut a circle in glass. We might show you a couple of different ways to do that. I think there's one way that's a little easier than the other, but you can be the judge. What we're going to do is we're going to take a good chunk of glass. Sometimes we can take a leftover piece of glass. We've already cleaned this. We're going to use this baby food jar lid to kind of create a circle. Now, whenever you want to make a circle, you don't want to just put it smack dab in the middle of the glass. You want to make the most of your glass. So what you want to do is you want to kind of get it up into a corner. Looks like this corner is a little cleaner, so I'm going to put it up here. I'm going to take my marker, and I'm going to put it pretty close to the corner, and I'm going to trace it. And I've got a circle right there ready to go. When I go to cut this thing, I cannot just take this and go all the way around it. I could, but I'll probably end up shattering a ton of glass. There's a smart way to cut this glass. First thing, I can't just go all the way around it. I've got to free the glass. So one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to try to maximize my glass. I'm going to make a straight line here and cut it so that this piece is separate. I can save this piece of glass for something else. So I'm going to go ahead and take my ruler, and I'm going to make a line. I might even try to see if I can get the line on the circle. That's good. So I've got this nice little corner piece right there. I'm going to go ahead and cut that right now. It's kind of a long cut, so I can probably use my running pliers for this. I've made a few cuts with this, so I'm going to go ahead and grease it up. Every 4 or 5 cuts is always a good idea. Roll it back and forth a few times. I always want the majority of the glass on the side of my whole hand because it's just better support. So I'm going to put it on this plastic line so I have more support here. I'm going to make sure the teeth are going down, thumb underneath, 2 fingers on top, straight up. I'm going to push down, go back. Okay, 2 fingers underneath, finger above. It's not a super big piece of glass, but it is a little bit. Tap it pretty decent. Flip it around, keep it low. Do the same thing here because and look, it came just completely apart. Didn't even need to use my running pliers. That tells you that this is a pretty good blade, okay? So what I want to do is now, there's 2 different ways that I could cut this circle free. One technique that I like to use, I just think it's easier, but I'll leave it up to you. Sometimes what I'll do, I'll kind of make a box out of it. Like I will have a straight line that's cut here, a straight line that is cut here that runs right up to the circle, a straight line that is cut here. I'll make these cuts and then I'll deal with these small little curves after the fact. So let's give that a shot. Take this, push down, tap it. If it doesn't break off, it's a good amount of glass. It's not what I call a long cut, but you can take this and gently squeeze it. Comes right off. Okay, there's no glass here. I'm going to now make this cut. I'll use my breaker grozers for this if it doesn't come off. Push down, come back. Make the thumbs up sign. Fingers right here, thumb right here, holding this really, really firm. I've got this little bit of a triangle here. I'm going to take that. I'm going to go down out. Make sure you don't cover the line up. Make sure it's right in front of the line. Down and out. Comes right off. No problem. Okay? Now I'm going to make this cut, and then I'll deal with those little curves at the end. Again, put your pressure here, which is your fingers. Straight up. Push down. Pull back. Down and out. Okay, got it. Now I'm ready to do these little slight curves right here. So I've made what, 3 or 4 cuts. Let's go ahead and grease the wheel. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of use the skill I used in that long curve cut. I'm going to start here and pull back this way best as I can. Come in, gently tap. Don't grab in the middle, grab in a narrow portion. That way, if it does make a bad run, it'll run off the piece you're trying to get rid of, not the piece you want to keep. So again, fist, thumbs up, down and out. Came off a pretty good little tiny piece right there. I might be able to go ahead and take that off too. Yep, it came off too. Now, this circle isn't perfect. It's got a couple little rough ridges on it. I can now take the curved end and I can gently nibble some of that glass, just a little bit. You'll see a little glass dust fly up when you're doing this live. You may not be able to see this with the camera. And it'll nibble some of the little pieces off. Let's go ahead and take care of the rest of it. I'll get this bigger curve because it's easier to see. Gentle. Sometimes usually you want to have consistent pressure from beginning to end, but on these little pieces, sometimes you might have to let off just at the last second. Again, grab the narrow portion. Don't grab it in the middle. Grab it in the narrow portion. That way, again, if it doesn't make the curve, it'll fly off here and it won't mess up your circle. Down and out. Came off pretty good. There's a little bit of glass here. I'm going to nibble that with the grozers using the round side. If we were doing a sun catcher, we would use glass. We'd use a glass grinder and get it really smooth. But we're not doing that for our mosaic stones. All right, let's get a couple more off. Slight curve. This one won't be as easy. Tap gently when it's a small amount. I'm going to try to use the flat side. Don't know if it's going to work. I may have to use my round side more. A little bit. I like to use my flat when I can. I try to only use the curve if it's a really small piece, and I can nibble just a little bit off. Don't get greedy, just a little bit at a time. All right, I'm almost done. I got to make this cut and maybe nibble a little bit off here, and I'll have that circle finished. Come on in. Try to support as much of the curve as I can with this line. Come around. Gently tap it. It's really close to the edge. I can try to use the flat side. I don't know how successful I'll be because it's so small. Again, thumbs up, thumb here. Yeah, I think I'd be better off probably using the curved side, so I will. And that's not a perfect circle, but it's closer to what you want. Now I can show you another version of doing a circle. I think that's the easiest one. We just make a box out of it. But another version of the circle that you could do is what they call tangential cuts. It's kind of where it looks a little bit like the aperture of a camera. If you've ever seen the old James Bond movies and you see like an aperture of a camera or a telephoto lens, and then James Bond like walks out in the center and points the gun and shoots. It kind of looks like that. But here's your circle, and what it does is those aperture marks, they curve off of it. Kind of like an old straw hat you might see where every line curves off the circle like so. You're still going to have to free the circle from this big sheet of glass. So you're still going to have to make a straight cut of some kind. I'll go ahead and just make it here to save time. Let's grease the wheel. Push down, pull back, make sure your feet are in good position. After you've learned how to cut a little bit, you'll be able to sit down and cut glass, but it's almost always better to do it standing up. But once you've practiced some, okay, use the breaker grozers, line up, take it in deep into the throat of it, gently squeeze, came right off, no problem. Now let's make a bunch of little tangential cuts. I'm going to start probably from, I'll just start here. I think I can do this in one cut. So I'm going to take it, try to support as much of the line as I can, push down, pull back. I don't get greedy. Tap that. Thumbs up, fist, thumb right here. Grab my breaker grozers, get in the narrow portion, down and out. A lot of that came right off. Let's hit the next tangential line that's curving off of that circle. Gently tap it. Again, hold it correctly, thumbs up position. Get the narrow portion, flat side up, down and out. Make the next line, curve it around a little bit. Get the skinny side, down and out. Most of it came off, there's a little bit left here. I might be able to get it with the flat side. And I might have to take the curve and nibble a little off. Okay, let's do 2-3 more cuts and we'll be finished. Let's grease the wheel. Every 4 or 5 cuts, always a good idea. Makes it last longer, helps you cut it better. Push down, give support. Come down, curve around. Gently tap. Thumbs up, fist, thumb. Get it into skinny. Down and out, comes right off. A couple more. Pressure, support with the ridge. Gently tap. Gently, because it's smaller. When it's small, you need to be gentle. You can be a little harder when it's a big, long, straight line. Okay? I can do this in 1 or 2, probably 2. Thumbs up. Get it in the little tiny piece of it. Oop, straight, flat side up, Mr. Norris. Down and out. Didn't break off evenly, did it? That's okay. See, it ran off, but it didn't run into the circle. I only have one more cut left to make, and I've basically got the circle done other than nibbling it a little bit. Come in, start here, come around, let off the pressure just barely at the end. Sometimes if you have too much pressure at the end, you can break your whole piece. You want to be consistent with your pressure, but you got to be careful at the end of a small piece. It's going to come off in pieces. Again, you're giving support. You're bracing this glass by holding it the way that you are. I'm using the flat side because I can see the cut easily. When I'm done, I take the curved side and I nibble off little pieces and portions, and I can get it. If you're in a fancy glass studio, they have something called a circle cutter, and it will automatically cut circles for you right off the bat. We're a high school, we don't have all of that, but you can still make a pretty nice circle this way. And if we use sun catchers and we have circles, we can use glass grinders to get it really nice and smooth. So those are a couple techniques for cutting in a circle. We'll be back and we will show you yet another glass cutting technique.